They called him the Quiet Beatle. But what George Harrison built with that quiet was anything but small. From the chaos of global fame to the calm of spiritual awakening, George didn't just make music, he made meaning. He faced loss, burnout, addiction, violence, and yet he gave the world peace. This is the story of how George Harrison turned silence into strength and left behind a legacy that still heals hearts to this day. George Harrison was born in Liverpool, 1943. By 17, he was a lead guitarist in the Beatles, a band about to redefine music, culture, and youth forever. But while the world screamed for their attention, George often stood just slightly behind the spotlight. To some, he was just the guitarist, quiet, reserved, different. But behind the scenes, he was watching, learning, evolving. While John and Paul dominated songwriting early on, George began quietly crafting his own voice. He brought Indian music to the West, introduced sitar into pop culture, and wrote hits like Here Comes the Sun and Something, songs of hope, honesty, and harmony. He didn't shout. He didn't push. He let his truth rise like the morning sun. By the late 60s, the Beatles were crumbling, ego clashes, business stress, creative wars. George, exhausted and sidelined, walked away emotionally long before the final break. But instead of fighting, he let go. He turned to meditation, spirituality, silence. He found mentorship in Indian spiritual leader Ravi Shankar. He traveled to India not to perform, but to learn. And in that journey inward, he found something deeper than fame: peace. When the Beatles broke up in 1970, George didn't fall, he soared. He released All Things Must Pass, a triple album that topped charts and touched souls. He'd been waiting his whole life to be heard, and when the moment came, he delivered. George never chased attention. In fact, he used his fame to spotlight others. In 1971, long before benefit concerts were common, he organized the Concert for Bangladesh, a groundbreaking event that raised millions for war refugees. It was the prototype for Live Aid, We Are the World, and more. But George didn't seek praise. He sought injustice and acted. He believed in music as healing. He formed the Traveling Wilburys with icons like Bob Dylan and Tom Petty, not for charts, but for fun. And his lyrics? Always rooted in love, letting go, and looking inward. Even in the face of tragedy, like the home invasion that nearly killed him, George never turned bitter. He turned inward. He kept playing, kept praying, kept planting peace. In the late 90s, George was diagnosed with cancer. But he didn't use it as a reason to give up. Instead, he doubled down on meaning. He spent time with family, produced Monty Python's Life of Brian, and continued making music that reflected a quiet urgency. That life is short, and love is all. When he passed in 2001, at age 58, he left with a mantra on his lips and music in the air. His final words? Love one another. It was never about fame. Never about fortune. It was always about truth. George's journey teaches us 3 powerful lessons. You don't have to be loud to make impact. In a world obsessed with shouting, George whispered, and the world listened. Purpose outlasts popularity. Fame fades. Money comes and goes, but meaning endures. Inner peace is the real success. He chased not crowds, but calm, and found the deepest kind of freedom. So many chase fame for the applause. George Harrison chased truth for the soul. So the next time you feel unseen, unheard, uncelebrated, remember George, the man who changed the world without demanding attention. The artist who found his voice by listening within. What's one part of your life that needs more peace today? Drop it in the comments. Let's build a community where purpose beats pressure. If George's journey inspired you, hit like, share this with someone feeling lost, and subscribe for more stories of quiet strength and loud impact. This is Rise and Roar, where resilience becomes reality.